Hello there, everybody. It's been a little while since I've done a Victoria 3 Dev Diary video, and I thought today is probably time to change that because this is the first of the 1.2 patch, which is being shared, and there's been a lot of hype around this, right? You know, it's the first patch after the Christmas break. The devs have come back from holiday, and they're now working on this patch that's, people are saying it's going to fix so many problems, and, well, we should probably see if that's true. So I'm going to go through these dev diaries, maybe. Just to put my cards on the table and let you know where I stand with a bunch of things, I have uninstalled the game. I haven't played it since November because I got so irritated specifically at the performance of the game, as in like how fast the game runs when putting on the fastest speed, and performance in the late game was real bad, just frustrated me. I uninstalled it. So that's me just putting my cards on the table so you know where I stand. Will I play Victoria 3 again? If it becomes good, sure. Right now I have no interest in it though. So anyway, let's have a look at this dev diary and see what we have. Hello and welcome to another dev diary. It marks the first of the diaries around patch 1.2, next upcoming patch for Victoria 3, which does not have a release date. As with 1.1, it'll contain a bunch of bug fixes, UX improvements, AI improvements, and so on, and also changes to game mechanics, which we're going to go over in the dev diaries. So 1.1, it came out at a very weird time, right? Because it came out and had quite a few problems, specifically in regards to the AI building ports and then deleting them, and so any kind of coastal country was just completely shafted. Britain fell apart, France fell apart, and Austria, who has very limited amount of coastline, did really, really well. And it also had a lot of problems with legitimacy in governments. They implemented a new system that was, as far as I can tell, again, I haven't played since November, so since before 1.1, from what I've been able to tell, because I have been keeping up with community sentiments and reading things, it didn't work. It was pretty bad. Multiple times, or quite frequently, you couldn't just not have any legitimacy in your government. No matter who you put in power, you just had no legitimacy, which obviously kind of tanks runs a bit. But anyway, hopefully now that they're back from their Christmas holidays, that will be fixed in a 1.11 or something along those lines. Hopefully they're not waiting until 1.2 to fix that, because it's a kind of a big issue. And, we'll see what happens in 1.2 now, which hopefully is separate. So the particular changes we'll be talking about today is autonomous investment, something they said they were going to look into for the post-release plans back in Dev Diary 64. What they said is that they're never going to take construction out of the hands of the player entirely, but they're open to the idea of non-government entities constructing buildings in a way not directly controlled by the country. And they came up with a system where the investment pool will be used by private entities to construct different types of buildings depending on your economic laws. Before obviously going into that, they say as well that it will be a game option, because some people don't want the AI to construct things at all. They want to be in control of it entirely on their own. And then there are others that think that things like laissez-faire governments should have 100% control of construction. And it's a bit of a divide in the community between two pretty vocal parties. My own actual position on this is something I have said before in a video. I think the video's title is like laissez-faire can totally work in Victoria 3, something like that. You can find that on my channel. But basically, my position is the problem with Victoria 2's laissez-faire, which is basically the argument, well, just to start off with, the argument that anti-laissez-faire AI control over construction is, from the Victoria 3 camp, is that Victoria 2 sucked for laissez-faire. It wasn't fun, it was just awful. My position is that it was awful because of the limited building slots in Victoria 2. So if the capitalists built a building, it would take up one of the very limited slots. I think you had 6 or 7 or 8 or something slots per state. And so if they built a clipper factory in 1910, when you don't have any need for it, that clipper factory would obviously go bust, it would go bankrupt, but you can't delete it because you're laissez-faire, and it would take up one of your slots that you could otherwise build something good in. That's obviously bad. It sucks. However, it's not a problem that Victoria 3 has, because if the AI builds a building that is shit, and what? It won't be able to hire people, so it won't have any, funds or profit to be able to hire people, so it will just sit there barren and empty, taking up, a little bit of infrastructure at most. It's not a big deal. So I don't see it as a massive issue. The issue comes when there are people who want the AI to take control over all construction. And I also think this doesn't work at all, because construction is kind of the only thing you do in Victoria 3. It is the only meta. Obviously, unless you're going for achievements or doing one of the tutorial missiony doodads, like Hegemon or whatever, you really have to choose what your own goal is. And generally, that goal in a standard playthrough is going to be make the most money, be the most powerful, get your highest prestige, be rank 1 great power, that kind of thing. And generally, no matter what goal you're going for, or, higher standard of living, no matter what goal you're going for, you are aided in achieving that goal by having a larger construction sector. The larger your construction sector, the easier it is to reach whatever goal it is that you've set out for yourself. So construction really is the only meta in this game, including technology, because you can just build more universities to reach your maximum innovation cap. It really is that simple. Construction is the only meta. So if you take construction out of the hands of the player, what is there left to do? Of course, there is politics, but politics is really a solved system, right? Multiculturalism is the best. You go with it, just anytime. Multiculturalism is the law that you go for. Like, all of the laws have a specific one that is just better than the rest. Once you get them, you generally don't need to worry about politics anymore. It's kind of irrelevant. Oh no, my legitimacy is low. I don't really care, because I'm not passing any laws anymore. So you just stop caring about those things. So yeah, it's not a really impactful part of your game after, well, it depends on who you're playing. After a certain amount of time, politics just isn't a functional part of the game anymore. Like, as the United States, you can pass pretty much every law that you are wanting to pass within 10, 15 years of the game. Abolish slavery, multiculturalism, congratulations, you've basically finished politics. So the construction really is the only thing to do, and if you take that out of the hands of the player, what exactly is the player doing? Warfare? Sure. So yeah, that's those are the two sides of that argument. It's a delicate balance. I'd argue, give the ability for the AI to actually do all of the building, but also give the player something to do would be probably the best way to go about it. Regardless of whether your autonomous investment is enabled, the investment pool works pretty much the same as it did before. Properties with ownership shares in buildings pay part of their dividends into the investment pool. The funds can then be drawn on for construction. So investment pool, yeah, they're paid into at the moment by aristocrats and capitalists, but this will also now include farmers and shopkeepers, just at a lower rate, 5% each. I think this is also increased by your economic law, so agrarianism, farmer changes. It doesn't actually give them more, but increases the efficiency of it. So if we have a look here. Instead of the capitalists paying a certain amount of their cash into a building, you upgrade the building, and then the capitalists are unhappy because now they have to pay more cash into it. Instead, what you'll have is an efficiency bonus onto that money. So they're always paying the same amount, but the efficiency goes up, and then they're happier. So that's what that is. And, depending on your economic system, you get a different amount of efficiency on their contribution. It's an interesting little system. It's fine. I've got really nothing else to say about it. It's fine. So how does it get turned into buildings when autonomous investment is enabled? Autonomously, of course. With autonomous investment, construction queue is split into private and government constructions. Government constructions is basically what we do now. You build everything yourself. Cool. And then private is this automated capitalistic system where, the capitalists or the aristocrats or whatever are building buildings. It goes in its own queue. They have separate queues. So this here is the government constructions queue. You cannot change the order. It will always go in the order that it's placed in, and you cannot cancel it either. So if you see them building something really stupid, well, good luck. It is what it is. The interesting part about this is that your construction capacity will be split between the private and government queues in a proportion based on your economic law. So if we have a look back at the agrarianism thing, does it say, 50% private construction allocation. So agrarianism, they will take 50% of your construction queue. And as I said earlier, your construction sector, I'm trying to find a picture of it, your construction sector is the only meta in the game. So what I'm envisaging being the new meta, or the strongest or the most correct or whatever you want to call it, the best way to play is to have the economic law with the least amount of private construction allocation. Not because that's more fun, but because that means you will be able to build what you want, and you are always going to be more intelligent than the AI when it comes to what to build. Because the AI, unless you're running some, like Anbield's AI mod, is just kind of crap. They're just not very good. So, yeah, it's going to be maybe an issue, but hopefully not that much of an issue. Pop-ordered constructions use a variant of standard construction AI, which doesn't take into account the country-level AI strategic objectives and prioritizes the creation of profitable buildings, which will create lucrative jobs for the investing pop types. That also take more strategic factors into account, such as building railroads in low infrastructure states. That I'm kind of cool with. I'm happy with that. It's historically accurate as well. Private companies building railroads in America, for example, is a big part of American history. Cool, sure, why not? Hopefully the AI has been updated though, so they're a little bit more intelligent than the current version of the game. I have no faith really that it's going to be on the same level as Anbield's, because, let's be honest, let's see here. This is a screenshot from 1908. No country has broken 1 billion GDP. You can get 1 billion GDP pretty trivially as Great Britain, France, USA, Qing, Prussia still exists and it's not Germany, so that issue is still there. There's still a ways to go. They do say that France and Prussia have underperformed due to wars, but that they say nothing of Great Britain, and they're still only on 692 GDP. So the AI is still not at Anbield's level, and certainly not at a player's level either. But maybe it's better. Who knows? It's definitely looking better, sure, because the AI was tragic beforehand, and this would be like at 400 maybe. So it's certainly looking better. It's just not looking good. But yeah, that's it for today. My thoughts on this. I don't know. It's not enough to get me playing again, I'll tell you that much. Like I say, it's between a rock and a hard place, right? Construction is the only matter. It's the way that you win at the game. It's the way that you do the best at the game, but it's also the way that lags the game the most. Not sure what time period this is, what year this was taken, but 60 construction is nothing. It's very, very trivial and a good thing to do to have things in the thousands of investment pool. But that lags the game something rotten. And honestly, it's wild, but there is a mod on the workshop that removes these little pictures here in the construction queue. And reportedly, that improves the performance of the game like by like an order of magnitude, like improved it by like 10 times faster, which is crazy. That if it's right and that it's these little pictures lagging construction queue, obviously when you have a construction pool of like 2,000, then you've got quite a lot of these little pictures. But if that is what is lagging the game, that's kind of wild. And hopefully that will be solved as well, so the game's performance will be a little bit better. But yeah, it really is like this you're torn between two parties, right? One party is, laissez-faire is a thing that should exist, and the AI should have control over some level of construction, because that is laissez-faire government, right? At the moment, no matter what government form you pick, you're basically playing a command economy. On the other hand, you've got the issue that there's fuck all to do in the game other than construct. Like, this game has been pretty accurately described as a cookie clicker. Cookie clicker, not clitter, what the fuck. A cookie clicker. Because how you win at the game is you build buildings. The pops are entirely reactive. They're not proactive at all. So you build something and they will move into it. Whether it takes a long time or not, whatever, it doesn't matter. Like, they are reactive to your actions. So yeah, your construction is like the only thing that you do in the game. Warfare is an actual travesty that we don't even want to talk about right now. That's just not even a thing. You just ignore it. Politics is a solved game that you can finish that part of the game in a relatively short amount of time, and like construction is the only thing you do. You choose a technology, you unlock a new building or a new production method, and then you go in and spend an ungodly amount of time changing the production method of all your fucking buildings again. So taking the construction out of the hands of the player means that they can play the game by sitting on their hands. I don't know. I really don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. We'll have to wait and see what they do in the next dev diary. Economic laws and introduction of government shares in buildings. Hopefully that's going to be something that changes the game for the better. Is it going to be enough for me to reinstall the game? Not at this point. It's going to take a little bit more than that. I am more hopeful and more interested right now in the Europa Universalis games, or game even. I will say I've kind of given up hope on Victoria 3, but, I'm covering this because I guess I haven't, and I'm still morbidly curious as to what is going to happen. So, I will see you guys next week for another Victoria 3 video. If you are still playing the game, especially if you are enjoying the game, can you tell me what it is you enjoy about it? I'm not saying you are wrong for enjoying the game, by the way, just putting that out there. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just want to understand. Do you agree with my points, especially about construction being the only thing you really do? Do these changes interest you? Do they make the game interesting for you? Is this what you wanted? And what other things do you think the game needs for the future of Victoria 3, for it to be a success. Because right now, I think player counts have dropped below 10,000 a day. It's the lowest, other than obviously Imperator. It's below the performance of Stellaris, CK2, EU4, Hoi 4 at the same point in its life cycle. So it's not doing amazingly. Maybe it's actually doing better than CK2, and not as good as CK3, sorry. So yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah, I do read the comments. I will be interested to hear it. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this little Dev Diary video, and I will see you for the next one. Yeah, that's it. Bye.